And we are live. Good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to the Gentlemen of Crypto. Today is Monday, October 12th, and I'm King, here to bridge the gap between the community and crypto every day, Monday through Friday. And of course, last week we missed out. A lot of big news coming in. A lot of crazy news. I've had a chance to actually talk to some people in different parts of the crypto industry last week or two and found out some interesting things. But today's top stories: 75 crypto exchanges have closed down so far in 2020. Jack Dorsey Square adds 4,709 Bitcoin to his balance sheet. U.S. Attorney General releases guidelines for enforcing crypto laws. SEC brings John Mcafee to court over ICO promotion. The case against BitMEX. And of course, last but not least, One Coin movie starring Kate Winslet coming soon. What is going on, Allison Thompson? Hello, hello. First and foremost, let's go ahead and check out those prices. Bitcoin is making that rally after the past 2 or 3 days of nonstop pumping. Is at $11,545, up 1.2%. Ethereum's at $387, up 3.17%. Ripple's at 25%, down 0.21%. Chainlink at $11.52, up 5.5%. And we have, we got Litecoin at $51.18, up 0.80%. And with some other winners on the day. We'll take a peek at, of course, Bcash is at $241, up 0.19%. What's going on, Tony Nolly, Too Rich to Miss, Clarence Dennison, Wired Sparks, hello, hello all. Yeah, so Bitcoin is pumping. Again, I initially thought we might actually see it slip below 10K, especially since we're not getting those stimulus package. The stimulus package, it looks like, is going back and forth between, Congress, the president, executive branch, whether they're going to let that out. I thought we would see it slip, but it looks like that did not happen, at least not as of yet. A few reasons why. People are talking about now crypto's becoming, it's illiquidity. They're saying you can't become liquid in it because the amount of exchanges are shut down. I'm seeing this argument come up on Twitter, some of the forums and stuff, and it's pretty interesting to look at. When you look at this story from last week, October 7th, on Cointelegraph, 75 crypto exchanges have closed down so far in 2020. Crypto exchanges are disappearing at a fast rate this year. It looks like at least 75 crypto exchanges have closed down due to hacks, scams, or simply disappeared for unknown reasons so far this year. According to the Crypto Wiser Exchange Graveyard, 5 of the exchanges were labeled as scams and 4 were flagged as being hacked. So really, you got 9 of 75 that were just in the wrong and they need to be closed down, right? But they're also saying in total, 31 were shut down voluntarily, while 34 were labeled as MIA for disappearing with no explanation. Hey, that could be us on this show sometime, right? And they kind of give some reasons. They give some trends here. They say there are some macro trends which help explain why so many smaller exchanges are failing. The growth of DeFi and the rise of the decentralized exchanges in 2020 has put the final nail in the coffin for many smaller operations. Now, I would say 2 things. First, when it comes to the price of Bitcoin, I can agree with this. I think that some of the reasons, at least for the short term, of Bitcoin prices booming is some of these exchanges getting eliminated, where people might already have their money tied up in Bitcoin or in the market, and they might not even be aware that the exchange is gone, right? Some people started buying Bitcoin at the end of 2017 or in 2018, didn't know much about exchange, didn't know much about wallets, and they literally left their money on the exchange. So there could be some people that are just leaving money on exchange that don't know. But even more for this explanation, I'm not going to, I don't think they're just disappearing and going MIA. It has to do with the trend of this entire days of articles, as it normally is. And that's regulation, right? Someone let the cat slip out of the bag on me recently. I can't go into too much detail, but one department that I wasn't even thinking about that is probably 10 toes and 10 fingers deep in crypto is the Department of the Treasury, right? Again, I did not think of them initially. I was so concerned with the IRS and SEC. I wasn't even looking at the Department of Treasury. But a little birdie has told me some things about the Department of Treasury. And we'll get to that in a moment. But all I would say is that these exchanges disappearing aren't happenstance. As we always say, the war is won. Bitcoin and crypto is here to stay. Now we're fighting these ugly battles, right? And a part of those ugly battles are control of the remaining Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and exchanges that are out there. So I will preface this, and this ominous preface is going to be that these exchanges aren't just disappearing. They're getting those taps on the shoulders by the government. It's not a maybe anymore as a possibly. No, this is actually happening. And to me, it kind of goes along those monopoly laws. It's like, I don't know, it's government officials everywhere tapping exchanges on the shoulder, making them shut down left and right. But again, I think that's important to look at, because as more exchanges, as they continue to shut down or as new ones continue to pop up, we're starting to see stories saying that crypto banks will become bigger than regular banks. Again, once you start seeing stories like that, start seeing those buzzwords, crypto banks becoming bigger than regular banks, that means it's already happening. I guarantee you it's already happening. So first point is, when it comes to the price of Bitcoin today, I think these crypto exchanges do have a lot to do with it. And then the second thing, Jack Dorsey, Square adds 4,709 Bitcoin to his balance sheet. They even went so far as to refer to cryptocurrency as, quote, an instrument of economic empowerment, unquote. So Jack Dorsey's putting his money where his mouth is, right? It looks like in a surprise move, Square announced the acquisition of 4,709 Bitcoin, worth roughly $50 million at the time of publication. The company's co-founder, Jack Dorsey, of course, Bitcoin Zay, has had all types of talks with them, all types of things on the crypto front, and he is serious about it. Jack Dorsey has been a long-term proponent of Bitcoin and crypto, while the company's Cash App allows its users to invest in Bitcoin. And looks like, Cash App, or excuse me, Jack Dorsey has been saying already 1% of Square's assets as of the end of the second quarter of 2020 are into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. That's 1% of their total assets. And as of June 30th, the company's total assets amounted to $7.8 billion. So 1% of $7.8 billion from Jack Dorsey Squares into crypto. That's pretty cool to see. And again, him announcing that, I think that did actually have, that was a part of the reason we saw that price bump, right? You get one billionaire mentioning, hey guys, just went ahead and bought 4,700 more, and we're on the cusp of an election. Money, dollars being printed left and right. There's stimulus packages going around. If I was a billionaire or a multi-millionaire friend of his, and I just saw him buy 4,700, I might say, you know what? If he can buy 4,700, why not I just buy 10 or 15 of those things just to be sure, right? Jack seems like a smart guy. So I think that's one of those things where we saw the same thing with Jamie Dimon in 2017. I think it was in June or July of 2017 when he came out and said Bitcoin is a fraud, right? And he manipulated the crypto market like that. We saw the price of Bitcoin drop literally minutes and hours after he made that statement. We saw the price of Bitcoin drop between a 24 to 48 hour period. So I'm thinking we're seeing the same thing just on the other side of the equation, where instead of saying Bitcoin's dead and it's a fraud and all this and the price is dropping, Jack came out and actually bought Bitcoin and then actually promoted it as well. So I'm thinking that's where the bump this weekend came from. Again, it's a worldwide currency. Who knows? Something could be going on in Egypt I know nothing about that could have also affected the price, right? What's going on, Rashu? Bus out here, gang. There we go. You know, I didn't even say anything, and you are right. You know, my apologies, people. First of all, let's give this grand shout out to Laker Nation. You know what? I have been away from the show for a week. I was excited to get back and talk crypto, and I did forget. Let's give that hand clap to that mama mentality, those black mama jerseys. Laker Nation, listen, King James, he did it in the West, people. It doesn't matter if it's in the bubble. That is right. Laker Nation is back and greater than ever. If you haven't realized already, LA, baby, is where the champions go. All right, you can win a championship in Cleveland. You can win your championship in whatever music industry you're in, or acting over here, whatever. LA, people, this is where the champions come to reside, all right? So Lake Show, we did it again. There we go, Rashu. Thank you. I appreciate that, if that was for the Jitty Buzz gang for sure. Let's see. Clarence Dennison said, for the record, I told you once they came, they would be coming for all the crypto. He said, okay, I didn't, but here they are in his own like Donkey Kong, for sure. What's going on, Tessa Hall, PFC Wells, Cryptonomics, Wired Sparks. Most exchanges participate in wash trading anyway. That's true. Most of these, like I would say, like 8 to 9 out of every 10 exchanges are unnecessary. So I definitely agree with that. And a lot of them are just wash trading to make their exchange look popular, so they can have someone else buy the bag, which we saw with Poloniex when Circle bought Poloniex for what, 400 or 300 million. I mean, we literally called that day and said they just bought the bag and was nothing left to get out of that. And it turns out it was nothing left to get out of that. And I think was it the CEO or the COO, whoever was in charge of that buy, ended up getting fired essentially. And just being rebalanced or pivoting to just the board, I think, but he didn't have that position anymore. So for sure, most exchanges are participating in wash trade, and they're doing it just to build up that exchange and sell it. That's literally the only reason. They're trying to go from that tech point of view where you get customers, you get volume, you sell it to the next person sells it, you go off with your money. Too rich to miss it. The 2% is clearing the field. That's all. That is actually exactly what's going on. Except it's, it is the 2%. I was going to say the 1%, but it's still the 2% because you have a lot of government employees in on this fix right now. So it's the 2%. Tessa Hall said, I think DeFi will give the financial sector a good shakeup. I do too. I hope so. PFC Wells said, let's see if they promote POK Day in 2021. Everyone is using social buzzwords, but not really about the ideals behind crypto. Even worse, people. Again, I'm going to be talking about Department of Treasury and a couple other departments later. I'm not going to, name names and stuff, keep these birdies out the news. But what I will say is it's very unfortunate to see that even the younger generation, the new people are just starting to work at these places. The new people, the people who just graduated college, who are starting to work at the SEC, the IRS, Department of Treasury, the CFTC, all these college graduates who are coming out right now, or people who are transferring positions and going to these same departments at an entry or low mid level, they are being brainwashed. I'm telling you, and they are being brainwashed to believe that while crypto and Bitcoin is not bad, it's only bad if the government doesn't control it. That's basically what the brainwashing is going on right now. It's like we're out the woods where it's not bad anymore, right? It was just crazy because some of these same people I'm talking to are talking about crypto in this positive way. I'm like, you all just started talking about it in a positive way like 3 or 4 months ago. It's crazy. But they're talking about it in a positive way from the point of view the government owning and controlling it all. So with that being said, you can draw your own conclusions. And again, that kind of goes into what I was going to say. U.S. Attorney General releases guidelines for enforcing crypto laws. Big story that came out October 8th here on Cointelegraph again. Regulation and guidance continues to come in hot from the land of the free, as this article says. Hilarious. But as I said, it's happening already. Let me reread that headline. U.S. Attorney General releases guidelines for enforcing crypto laws. The U.S. Attorney General didn't release thoughts for you to vote on. The U.S. Attorney General didn't release a meetup date or a Zoom meeting where everybody can come on and give their 2 cents in the crypto industry. None of these things are happening. They're releasing guidelines, which will very soon be law, if not already law, since they had the police to enforce those guidelines. But they're going to be, they're releasing guidelines to enforce crypto. It is already happening. They are already trying to literally corner this market and take control. But it looks like William Barr, the Attorney General for the U.S., published official guidelines for keeping crypto markets accountable. The U.S. Attorney's Cyber Digital Task Force put together the guidelines, officially calling them cryptocurrency and enforcement framework, according to an October 8th statement from the U.S. Department of Justice. It says this framework provides a comprehensive overview of the emerging threats and enforcement challenges associated with the increasing prevalence and use of cryptocurrency, details the important relationships that the Department of Justice has built with regulatory and enforcement partners. Again, regulatory partner, SEC, IRS, CFTC, the NFA, National Futures Association, Department of Treasury. So literally, other cliques of your own gang, you're saying we built this partnership with, even though you're all part of the same gang. We're all the U.S. government, right? So what are you talking about? We built this partner. No, they're your partner because it's all the U.S. government and you're getting paid by taxpayers. Like, they're going to be your partner whether you want them to be or not. So I'm not sure why that's even in the press release. And enforcement partners. Who's an enforcement partner in the United States? Only 2 I know of are the police and the military. So, of course, you have everything that's ran by the government as your partner. Again, a very redundant sentence, but this goes to show how even the Department of Justice PR team will try to confuse you people. But anyway, they built these great partnerships with regulatory enforcement partners, even though these partnerships would have existed regardless if they felt they built them or not, both in the United States government and around the world, and outlines the department's response strategies. Now, we've talked about this many times. Whenever the government, especially the U.S. government, comes out and say, we're doing this for your protection, that means they are doing it to make money. We are a capitalistic society. Nothing's for free. So we're offering you protection. It's the same way the good old boys back in the day used to go up to mom and pop restaurants and be like, hey, we're just trying to protect this place for something bad happening to it. It's a dangerous neighborhood. You never know. The U.S. is doing the same thing with crypto right now. It's like, it's not a dangerous neighborhood, but they're coming around like, hey, this crypto thing is dangerous. You guys want us to enforce it. We're going to have to come in and take control. My biggest thing, and I told this to the Department of Treasury the other day, is that I don't understand. I said it in a joking way because I'm trying to establish those relationships, but I did say in a joking way, I don't understand how you all cannot enforce the regular market after just fining JP Morgan Chase $920 million and no one going to jail, yet you want to come over to crypto and be the enforcers of that. And their whole thing was basically like, well, you know, the people need the protection and stuff. And I'm just like, but you can't protect the people already. So again, it has nothing to do with protection. I'm not even going to go through this entire U.S. Attorney General release of an article because, again, it's 2020. We have technology. We can vote on apps. I can get on Zoom right now and give you my 2 cents, but I am not agreeing to this. This is one human who just woke up with his gang and said, hey, we're going to change all the rules on this imaginary money, this funny money we called it 3 or 4 years ago. We're going to change the rules today, and you're going to abide by it. I do not take this as law. I'm sorry. It just doesn't make sense to me. And it always happens in early mornings, as I always say, right? What day was the 8th? That was 4 days ago. Was that Thursday morning or something? Wednesday nights? We always say that Wednesdays and Friday nights, you always get some new law coming from the government that no one talked about or discussed. PFC Wells says, U.S. gang, legal 51% attack, plain and simple. This is a 51% attack. You're actually right. It's happening right in front of us. Jizzy Max said, keep stacking sats. What's going on, Harold George? Cryptonomics said, laws. We don't need no stinking laws. LOL. Tony Nolly said the marketing department has established a partnership with the sales department. Exactly. It's crazy when you, and again, I get it. I used to do PR for the military, so I know how to write these things. All right. It's so easy. It's like you literally have like a structure for them. But yeah, whenever you start hearing the word soup and people trying to mix you up, it's happening for a reason. It's not just happening. And another thing, if you ever hear, I heard this word being used by, I'm not sure if it was Pence or Biden or somebody recently, right? Somebody in politics. I don't know, nor do I really care. But whenever you hear a speech or you hear someone in a government position or a political position and they say unwavering, just know like a lot of that speech has been written by somebody else. And they may mean it or they may not mean it. But once you hear that word unwavering, I'm telling you, people, that's like our little like, that's a little gold story. You throw in some unwavering, that builds up all types of trust and stuff. And I heard some politicians using that word recently, which is why I knew it was some BS that's soon to follow. Again, I'm not going to dive in deep on this story, but this kind of goes along with what we've been talking about. SEC's conservative approach to crypto needs to change, says SEC Pierce. Again, and I hate seeing this all the time. Cointelegraph, please stop. They're not even telling me who wrote this article, luckily, because I would just call out this article, whoever wrote it by name. But Hester Pierce is not crypto mom. Giancarlo is not crypto dad. There were two people, one of which is the chairman of the SEC and one of which was the chairman of the CFTC. Two government organizations that have not been friendly to crypto or the innovation around it at all. So they do not deserve the moniker crypto mom here for Hester Pierce or crypto dad. Now, the only reason I have this article up is not even to scroll through and talk about it. It's to talk about the headline and what's going on. I told you to watch her and what she's saying and their actual actions. She keeps coming out every time something bad happens in crypto like, oh, we just got to work on this. We got to do better. This doesn't make sense. Like, this is the wrong way to do things. We need to change it. What was the last story I just had up? U.S. Attorney General releases guidelines for enforcing crypto laws. Now, I know that's not right up there with the SEC. They're not the same department. But if that article served me right, they're supposed to be partners, right? Well, partner talk to each other. If the chairman of the SEC is saying this over here, these laws and the way we're doing things are antiquated, why in the same breath, in the same 24 to 48 hour period, we have another partnering department making more draconian rules against crypto? It's because they're all in the same boat, working for the same goal, just like the Democrat and Republican Party is. Wake up, people. All right, seriously. Again, after just recently talking to the Department of Treasury and some people there, it is a real concerted government effort to take over crypto right now, to get a foothold into it. Is going to happen. So with her on the sideline, it's almost like, her two sons are like the bad kids at school and they walk around beating everybody up. And she's like, it's all right, people. It's like, I'm going to keep talking to them. They're going to do better. It's like, no, they're the bullies. They beating up everybody. Like, you're the part of the problem. You their mama. Like, come on. Like, they are the problem. Your family's the problem. So crypto mom Hester Pierce your family's a problem. Instead of making great quotes, which I'm sure she might not even be the one putting the quotes out, it may actually be Cointelegraph and CoinDesk coming to her for quotes or just using old quotes. But in general, it's just one of those things where it's like, look, you don't have to look to us and tell us anything. Just turn around and look in your office and then fix it from right there because you guys are the ones doing it. Speaking of the SEC and Crypto Mom talking about how these laws need to change and we can't go off the old laws. I'm sure you all have seen this already. It's over a week old, but we did not cover it. Gotta talk about Mcafee. You know we had him on the show. I'll be re-releasing that podcast record today. You can also check it out on YouTube. But about a week and a half ago, the SEC brought John Mcafee to court over that ICO promotions he was doing. Now, to be fair, though, that was some janky stuff, right? Like, we all knew it. The first couple that happened, everyone kind of believed it and was on board. And after the third or fourth promotion, everybody was like, bro, you are not literally on Twitter promoting ICO. And I mean, I wonder how much money he made. I mean, I'm not even trying to pocket watch when I say that, in the sense of the amount of ICOs he was promoting in 2017, the amount of money around the ICO market. Man, Mcafee could have walked off with like 30 to 50 million for some tweets. Easy. Like on a low end. But it looks like the cybersecurity millionaire and former presidential candidate, even though I don't think he actually planned to run for president, as he was telling us, sees new additions to his legal woes. And again, this article has been updated I think it was over the weekend or late last week. John Mcafee was arrested in Spain for tax evasion, and he's awaiting extradition to the U.S. Again, it's always interesting when people run from the government. They keep going to countries that will extradite you. You guys got to learn how to read. Mcafee, you're super smart, man. I don't know how you ended up in Spain with all these other countries on the playlist for you, but however it happened, it happened. It looks like on Monday, again, that was about a week and a half ago, the U.S., or I guess 2 weeks at this point, or would it be 1 full week? Maybe 1 full week. My dates are messed up. On Monday, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission filed suit against John Mcafee for allegedly promoting ICO, initial coin offerings, without disclosing that the ICO issuers were paying him, a violation of U.S. securities law. Again, right or wrong, and Mcafee, to keep it real, I mean, you was hustling, so it is what it is. But I think it's wrong for the government to come at him this way because, again, in 2017, these laws and these regulations, these rules had not existed. It is that simple. If they existed, do you really think they would have Mcafee on Twitter not even every week, 2 to 3 times a week, promoting a new ICO if these laws were already in effect? No, he would have went to jail then, people. They made up the laws after the fact, and then came back and prosecuted people again with those laws being in place. That is super illegal. That's super corrupt. I mean, it's just everything that's wrong with power is with that. So I disagree with him. Like, again, he was hustling in a bad way, not like a good hustle, not like the lemonade stand hustle. What he was doing was wrong. For Mcafee, he should have known better, to keep it real, especially when it's one of those things where, like, I don't know how much money the guy got, but I just feel like you're risking the house for the backyard pool type of deal. It just didn't make sense to me. But regardless, it wasn't against the law. Like, that's something I got to press more and more upon. It was not against the law. There weren't any laws made. In fact, Bitcoin at the time was still considered funny money. And that's why 3 years later in 2020, they're saying, oh, yeah, we got to arrest you for all that money you made in 2017. No, what they mean is we have to fine you for all that money you made in 2017. If you don't come up with the right amount, then you go to jail. But it's that simple. But, I mean, it's crazy. It is crazy to see this. It didn't exist, people. And I guarantee you it did not exist because, as I said, if it did exist, they would have arrested him. They arrested a 17-year-old who hacked Twitter and made some tweets and tried to give him 100 years, right? They managed to do that all within the same month. But do you think if you already had laws and regulations in place about a guy making $30 million in America, you're not going to go after him that year or the following year? You're going to wait 3 years? Come on. That's the BS. That's the BS of the market. And that's why it's hard to listen to any law or any regulation, because you're not going to have one law and regulation say, oh, yeah, you got to follow these rules over here, and then all of a sudden do some funny thing over here with your hands, little sleight of hand over here, and they say you need to follow these too. No, y'all want to play those games? How about we just don't follow any of them? That's the way I look at it. I don't know. But it looks like from at least November 2017, actually started before that, which is pretty funny, through February 2018, Mcafee leveraged his fame to make more than $23.1 million US in undisclosed compensation by recommending at least 7 ICOs or initial coin officers to his Twitter followers. All right, now here's the other thing. I know this is a shakedown now. This is straight extortion. John Mcafee did way more than 7. Everybody knows that. I mean, off the top of my head, he did probably about 15 to 20, if not 30. He did a lot. I mean, he was doing 2 to 3 at one point every week. He was doing them around the clock. So first thing, he did more than 7. And doing more than 7, they were paying, like I said, I'm assuming he made more than 23.1 million. Now, what's the reason why the U.S. only says 7? They're saying, hey, there's only 7 big ones. We actually know that did transactions with you and how much money. Out of these 7, we know you made at least 23 million and we want our cut. That is extortion, people. Because if it was a real criminal case, they don't care about just the 7. We're trying to get you for all 30 or 40 something you did, and we want all 60 or 70 million you have. But instead, they're not doing that. I just saw this movie the other day. I can't think of the name. It had Brad Pitt in it. Oh, I can't remember. But the guy was basically trying to shake some of these guys down. And he's like, you guys look like you stand to make at least 100, 200 million off this deal. I just want my quiet little 20 mil. That is what the government is doing. The government is like, Mcafee, we know you made 60 to 100 mil off some dirty ICOs. We just want our 23. You go to jail, buddy. And of course, Mcafee was already on the run on that boat. So they got him extradited here. They was like, look, you're pissing us off. You're trying to embarrass us on a world, on a global scale. Now we got you. Again, we want the money or you're going to jail. That's all it has to do with is the money, as always. Because again, when you look at an ICO and your tax money going to Spaniards, was that where he was arrested at in Spain? People, if Spain's working in the U.S., it's tax money involved. If your tax money is going to the Spaniards for arresting this guy and sending him back, all because he did something with ICOs, initial coin offerings, where anyone on the planet is allowed to give you money for your project or promote that project and you make money off it. Again, nobody's getting killed, nobody's getting raped, nobody's getting, there's no pedophiles in this thing. There isn't any heinous crimes going on. I don't want my tax money to go to this. I do want my tax money to go to some of these tax forces or lack thereof on Wall Street that allows the likes of JP Morgan Chase to continue to manipulate the stock market for billions of dollars that affects the entire country, not just Mcafee, who's affecting his own bottom line, literally his own bottom line. So again, it is crazy. But Mr. G, the recycling guy, hilarious, said Mcafee, the real crypto crackhead. That was a crackhead movie, did, but to keep it, to keep it real, like, if the U.S. is saying 23 million people for 7 ICOs, again, let's go 21. Let's say 21 ICOs. Let's go 4 million a pop per each, right? So let's add another 16 million on top of that number at the very least. I'm thinking we're looking at about 40 mil that he might have made off those ICOs. Let's see. Harold George said retroactive enforcement. I know, right? It's crazy. Rashu said, LOL, define, quote, right amount. Exactly. Jizzy Mac, you're right. This is where it really is about. He was publicly taunting the IRS. It was only a matter of time. You know what? That is what I think what it more was. But here again, here's the issue with that. Like the IRS, the SEC, CFT. I talk about all these people, but these are still humans in these roles, in these positions. It's funny how they take this up personally, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go after these people." It's like, yo, if you didn't work for this company or this government agency, they might come after you. The same way if you said something wrong. And as I always say, the problem here is a slippery slope. If I talk bad about a government agency, they come after you. And we know that actually is true. We saw that during the last couple of administrations where each politician and their people were bad-mouthing each other. And then there were talks of maybe different parts of the government, the IRS, are going after people or whatever, right? So it's one of those things where it's a slippery slope. It's crazy. It's a slippery slope. And that's why we have crypto here. So if the government or one of these agencies do want to come after you, i.e. if they do want to go after Mcafee and they want his 23 million and he has it all in Monero somewhere, is just no way to get it, right? Let's see. Yep. Harold George said he was pretty loud about it too. Wasn't he chilling near Cuba or some Caribbean country? Yep. He was on that yacht going around. PFC Wills, I'm with you on this too. I think this is probably what happened. It's probably some of the companies that got shoulder tapped, gave his name up as a promotional tool. So since they caved in saying they did an unregulated security, that put him on the hook too. That is more like it. I believe, and that's probably why they have these 7 companies for sure. More or less likely, they went after the companies, the ICO companies, and then once they got them, did their whole due diligence as far as how were you able to make. I mean, this is the government. It's a capitalist country. greedy fucks, people. I mean, it's no other way to say it. It's a bunch of what's the pocket watchers? A bunch of pocket watchers. They want to know, how are you able to make $23 million in 3 months? Like, come on. The government wants to know that type of information. How are you able to do it? Because everybody working for the government cannot do it, which is why they work for the government, because they can't do it on their own. So they want to know how you made their $23 million in 3 months. And the way they did, I'm agreeing with you, Track PFC Wells, is that they went after those ICO companies who probably made $100 million in 3 months. And they said, okay, how did you exactly make this $100 million? Oh, you have Mcafee over here promoting this, and that brought you another $60 million. Oh, 6 more companies have Mcafee over here promoting for them, and that brought them in $20 million here, $10 million here, $5 million here. Looks like a common trend is Mcafee. We're about to go after him for some money he owes us now. So I agree. That's more or less likely how they came about it. Let's see. Last couple of quick comments on that. Crypto Hustler said, I wonder if Mcafee is an expatriate. If he is, then why would he get picked up by the U.S. government for tax evasion? If he's an expat, that is a good question. I don't think he is. When he came on our show, he didn't. I mean, that's one of those things people usually announce, and I don't think he announced that. So he may not be. Cryptonomics said, Reggie seen that coming, though. Should have. Hell, I did. Reggie had a bit of dirt on his hands, too. He was just willing to roll with it as long as no one tugged on his coattails. As they say, empires are built on blood and fire. I find it seriously hard to believe that most people in this space at a certain level don't have any dirt on their hand, because you have to remember, people, the earlier you started in crypto, the more illegal it was technically, especially looking at these retroactive laws, right? If you did anything with an ICO, that's a security at the end of the day. I mean, technically, according to them, it's all, I mean, if you're in crypto in 2017, you probably did something illegal, right? So it's just one of those things where I agree with you. Reggie he might have saw it coming. He probably had a little bit of dirt on his hands, but I mean, come on, if you run an exchange before 2017, 2018, there's not a possibility of you having dirt on your hands. You have dirt, according to the U.S. government, on your hands for sure. Mr. G, the recycling guy, how America was stolen by international bankers. Hey, that's not a conversation nobody's ready to have, or that's not a topic anybody's ready to have a conversation over. I keep telling people, the presidents aren't the presidents, people. When you got a guy who can pay $920 million and not go to jail and get it out the news the next day, or you can have $1 billion coke shipment seized and no one hears about it, those are the presidents of the country, like not the ones we actually see. Let's see. Harold George said he had to remove some functionality from the software in the U.S., so I guess it's all good now. Yeah, but they actually already did that. They had already made like a separate thing, and they had this whole period where the U.S. wasn't even allowed to get on BitMEX. Of course, some people were using VPNs. So that already happened. I think it was one of those things where, again, when it comes to Reggie Middleton, they're talking about 2017. Even with John Mcafee, while it goes into 2018, they're talking about 2017. So let's make sure we're on the same page here. All of this is coming from 2017. And again, there were no laws or regulations on the matter. So it's crazy to see this happening. Again, I know Bitcoin's they talked about this, but since we just brought up the case against BitMEX is a compass pointing toward the future of crypto regulation. Again, kind of going back to the topic of the day, and that's regulators. That's, like I said, I had a chance to hear some birdies from the Department of Treasury. They probably tell me a little bit too much. You know how it is when people get to talking. But the future of crypto regulation is that it's happening. It's happening on a grand scale by the United States. We kept talking about in 2017, 2018, we thought it was strange that the government never once mentioned Bitcoin when it was literally the best performing asset on the history of the planet that we've seen, right? When you talk about going from $1,000 to $20,000 in a year, I mean, we have never seen an asset perform like this, and the government didn't even mention it. That's when we knew it was like, all right, this isn't conspiracy theory. Like, there's actual things happening in the background. And again, those things were confirmed to me last week when someone basically told me, like, the Department of the Treasury are going after people. Let's just throw it out there. They're going after people. They are shaping new rules and regulations. It is happening right now. Things are already being worked on, people. And I smile because I'm angry about it. It's nothing I'm happy about. It's nothing I'm excited about. Because just listening to some of the people talk, it literally sounds like top of the government brainwashed everybody. Crypto isn't bad as long as we own it type of deal. And that's what's happening. That's why these exchanges are closing. That's why we're seeing everybody from 2017 that made some money getting that retroactive tap, or going straight to jail over it. So it's crazy. Anyway, of course, like to end it on good news stories, or at least interesting news stories, and this is certainly new. One of them, OneCoin movie starring Kate Winslet coming soon. That is right. I'm actually kind of for this. Instead of them doing an actual straight up Bitcoin or crypto movie, which we know Hollywood has failed at many times because most people don't know that much about it, it looks like now they're doing an actual OneCoin drama. If the courtroom drama of OneCoin is not enough, you'll soon see the whole thing play out on the big screen. That is right. Even as OneCoin Ponzi scheme makes its way through the courts, a movie about it is now in development with a huge lead star. It's being reported by Deadline. Kate Winslet has signed on to star and produce Fake, a movie based on an unpublished book by Jen McAdam and Douglas Thompson. McAdam, a victim of the OneCoin scheme, will be a producer of the film. I will say OneCoin happened overseas more than it did happen in the U.S. Like, it affected more people overseas, right? It was a big scam similar to BitConnect. People lost hundreds of millions of dollars, right? I almost think they should have did, and again, I understand why they went with OneCoin, and they probably don't even know this, right? Like, the people who wrote it might not know, the people who got it might not know, and of course, Hollywood probably has no clue. But the movie to do is the BitConnect movie, people. Like, OneCoin is great as far as a movie. As you can see here, it was founded in 2014 by Raja Ignatova in Bulgaria. Followed a typical structure. You see a multi-level marketing scheme. The twist was it promised OneCoin was the next Bitcoin, though it wasn't even blocked by a blockchain or a network. Again, that has to do also with people doing their own research and due diligence on it. But OneCoin was huge in India, right? So when you just look, I mean, and of course, Hollywood's going to Hollywood it out. That's what we do. We're going to make it look American as possible, Western or whatever. But my thing is, why do it when you just had a Western one? Like, BitConnect was all over the world, but it was huge in the U.S. It was huge in Miami. So when you're talking about making movies, you're talking about be cool, Ned. You have so many famous quotes from that scam. You have so many people who were touched and affected by it here in the States. It's interesting to see them actually choose to do the OneCoin because if I had the technical sense and I was around, I'd be like, nope, switch out OneCoin. Everywhere you see OneCoin in this movie, turns into BitConnect. This is the BitConnect story. But regardless, honestly, I think this is a good thing to happen because it's going to alert people about more cryptocurrency scams and stuff. So at the very least, people won't be scared to jump into it from that point of view. From the scamming and the multi-level marketing point of view, they can at least spot those early and say, this isn't a project for me, but these projects make sense. So I'm hoping, again, it could be a base hit, could teach people about crypto, and could teach people about crypto scams. And hopefully, like most Hollywood movies, it will have a good ending where it shows the future of crypto, or the possibilities to come, right? Who knows? But either way it goes, it's cool to see that that's happening. It's cool to see it has a main star attached with it. That's certainly going to bring a lot more eyes over to crypto, as well as the scams that's going on too. Harold George said, not going to lie, I chicken out. I paid taxes on my crypto folder. I'm not trying to beef with the IRS for something that happened 3 years ago. Hey, as I'm live, I say it too now, people. I don't mess with the government. Listen, I am doing the right thing. I'm following all the laws and all the regulations. I am staying out the trouble too. I'm not going to lose the house for the pool. I just talk a lot of stuff. So you all do your own research. This is not professional advice in any way. It's definitely not no type of legal advice. So make sure you do your own research. I follow all the rules in life. I don't break a rule. I don't care if they make a rule right now. By the time I get off this live stream, I'm following it, people. That's who I am, okay? I don't play that. That's right. Hit the likes and share, people, for sure. Harold George said, all them lending coins promising 10% a week need a movie. That crap was unsustainable as heck. Yeah, I mean, people believe they will have a 1% return on top of the return every day for the entire year. That has nothing to do with crypto scams. That has to do with financial literacy, which is even more important, I think. Yep, Rashu said BitConnect coming out after this. S1 Dub said decentralized exchanges will become big because of SEC bullying. Let's see. Ronan Bushido style said great documentary, How and Why Big Oil Conquered the World by James Corbett. Yeah, that's a pretty good one too. Let's see. I'm wondering if IRS will retroactively ask people to claim crypto and from 2015 to 2017. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I think they can find the mechanism to, they will, but I highly doubt they do. And we'll end it on this. S1 Dubs. Hello, IRS. What is crypto? You know the vibes. You know how it goes. Other than that, people, thanks for watching. Make sure you smash that like and share. There hasn't been a lot of crypto news, and the price, even though it's jumping, is still jumping in that same 10 to 12K price range as we saw. So we're monitoring. We know we're not seeing any, we're not missing any huge news stories. I will try to be back tomorrow with some more crypto news if there is some, but if not, we'll keep you up to date as always. Thanks for watching. Make sure you smash that like and share, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.